We're just so excited.
That is something special, baby.
Moving through to the 60s and the 70s and now, and as we do into the 80s and 90s is really fun. And then ending up in a big, a little anxious about the whole live. I haven't been in front of a live audience since 1884.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so I'm a little anxious about the whole thing.
Yeah, I would be too.
Still, I just...
Hundreds of years, 100+ years ago.
100+ years ago.
That's a long time. Paul and I, we both really believed, as much as it's fun to be part of the humor and the playfulness of the Avengers, we just created like just an emotional foundation. Their strange love story. I mean, I've done theater before, but shooting a TV show in front of a live audience was like a strange meta experience for me, because I grew up on the Full House set watching these live tapings on Fridays.
Action! 3, walk. Action!
Oh no! I've never been allowed to be funny. This is my first time getting to be funny as Wanda. What a gas. I'm very funny.
She is enormously funny.
Very funny.
I think I have another idea. And then I change.
I think what it did was it made me think I've wasted my life. I should have been on a sitcom all these years. I just loved it. I should have prefaced, I'm a very shallow person, so I really rely on people applauding.
Kathryn Hahn. I don't know how I went so long never working with her. I've had the greatest time.
You were like a monologue earlier. I was feeling so good.
The journey with her consistently throughout the decade.
Spoiler alert!
She nailed all of the layers that were required of her and then went beyond.
Good.
One more.
One more, still rolling.
Ready?
You want to talk about your butt?
Yeah, I did want to talk about my butt.
I'm going to talk about my dress first. It makes me have better posture, and makes me want to walk like this. And
I have exactly the same thing, but with my fake
your
butt.
Fake butt.
Yeah, it makes me stand properly, and it makes me kind of want to do this too.
This?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what I was auditioning for. We all know Marvel is very top secret, and I was just sent some sides. I think it was the 70s episode. And I was like, what do I do with this? I'm not sure, because it's not Marvel as my mind can process. So I was like, okay. And I did some very great overacting.
Well, thanks for giving me the strength and the courage.
But this time, it was no heartbreak. They called and they were like, hey, who got the part? And I'm like, what part? What's the part? what is it?
The thing that we loved so much in the 50s and in the 60s between the marriages and like lovely and beautiful and felt in love. Should we put the heads together?
Very cute.
Like not grounded anymore.
Said to my agent, I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's Monica Rambeau? And then it was Monica Rambeau, and I lost it, and I practically tried to jump off a set of stairs because I thought I could fly.
Because lean in as much as you can.
She's got a belly in front of me.
Tonally, WandaVision runs the gamut. I can't even keep up myself sometimes.
We don't think you'll be old enough to properly care for an animal until you're at least 10 years old.
Look at each other.
Well, now
Wait.
hang on
No.
The character is so funny and meta, and an interesting way to do it. Like when Kevin was telling me about it, I was like, oh, that sounds awesome and hilarious and so weird.
I love you. Oh, the way we incorporated the retro costume, it gave me so much joy. Like so much love for the fandom. It's so fun to be in that costume.
Fabulous.
Makes me feel like I'm filled with secrets. Wanda has to run through town square and she's looking for Agatha, and all of the people crowd her, begging her to let them go.
I can't take this anymore.
It was a very long sequence It had quite a climax.
Heroes don't torture people. Last one to town square is a walking pair of mom jeans.
Usually I'm like one of the only flyers. Like I'm the only one on wires often. That is like something I do a lot in these films.
I mean, it looks like a blast.
And so I feel like it's the first time Marvel has had to accommodate for so many flying sequences. Kathryn's in a ridiculous costume that is very uncomfortable to harness and fly in. We've been harnessed quite a bit, and it was so fun.
You look amazing.
You look amazing.
And
You're supposed to be a myth. A being capable of spontaneous creation. And here you are, using it to make breakfast for dinner.
And to play a villain that's also funny. It's like, it's the best.
As far as TV goes, I mean, there is an argument that Avengers...
Spirits lifted.
It has always been episodic storytelling until we culminate. It feels different as the focus on Wanda and Vision, which is really nice after all this time.
I think the beauty of what Jack Schaefer and Mary Lavanos and Feige put together was a story that can only be told in the medium of television. It puts to bed so much pain, and we find her finally having peace and being okay. I can't believe you. I'm so excited now that we've cracked open this other part of her. There hopefully could be more stories to tell. Really loved doing the show.
That is a wrap on Lizzie.
I've never experienced loss because I've never had a loved one to lose. But what is grief, if not love persevering?
Missing someone.